This is a spiritual conversation between Abhinavagupta and his disciple Mandar. In the sacred land of Pravarpura, modern-day Srinagar, where the Himalayas stood as silent witnesses to the eternal wisdom of the rishis, lived the great sage Abhinavagupta. A master of Kashmir Shaivism, Tantra, aesthetics, and philosophy, his presence was like a beacon of light in an age of deep spiritual inquiry. Among his devoted disciples was Mandar, a young seeker burdened by the restlessness of his mind. Though well-versed in the scriptures, he found himself constantly distracted by thoughts, emotions, and desires. No matter how much he tried to meditate, his mind wandered like an untamed horse. One morning, as the first rays of the sun touched the peaks of Mount Harmukh, Mandar approached his guru with deep concern. Mandar prostrated before Abhinavagupta and asked, "Guruji, my mind never stops. I try to focus, but thoughts keep rising like waves in the ocean. How can I silence my mind and experience true stillness?" Abhinavagupta smiled and said, "Come with me, Mandar. The answer is not in words, but in experience." He led his disciple through the winding paths of Pravarpura towards a serene lake nestled between the valleys. The waters were calm, still, and mirror-like, reflecting the sky with perfect clarity. Abhinavagupta sat by the lake and gestured towards the water. "Look into this lake, Mandar. What do you see?" Mandar peered into the water and replied, "I see my own reflection, clear and undisturbed." Abhinavagupta then picked up a small stone and dropped it into the lake. Instantly, ripples spread across the surface, distorting the reflection. "And now, what do you see?" Mandar frowned. "The reflection is broken, the image is unclear." Abhinavagupta smiled, "This lake is like your mind. When it is still, it reflects reality clearly. But when disturbed by thoughts, emotions, and desires, everything becomes distorted. The more you struggle with the ripples, the more they grow." Mandar looked at the water as the ripples naturally settled into stillness on their own. Abhinavagupta continued, "You do not need to force stillness. Just stop disturbing the water, and it will return to its natural state. Similarly, do not fight your thoughts, simply observe them, and they will dissolve on their own." Mandar's mind absorbed the wisdom, yet a doubt still lingered. Mandar asked, "But Guruji, even when I observe, thoughts keep arising endlessly. How can I go beyond them?" Abhinavagupta picked up a burning oil lamp from his side and held it between them. "Tell me, Mandar, what do you see?" Mandar replied, "I see a flame." Abhinavagupta then asked, "What is between the flame and the next flicker of light?" Mandar hesitated and said, "Nothing, Guruji. Just space." Abhinavagupta smiled, "Exactly. Between two thoughts, there is always a space of silence. But you do not notice it because you are too focused on the thoughts themselves. If you rest your awareness in this space, instead of chasing thoughts, the mind will naturally fall silent." Mandar's heart trembled with realization. Yet, Mandar still felt uncertain. "Guruji, thoughts come back even when I try to focus on the space between them." Abhinavagupta then pointed to the vast sky above them. "Mandar, look at the sky. Now tell me, do the clouds disturb the sky?" Mandar looked up and said, "No, Guruji. The clouds move across, but the sky remains unchanged." Abhinavagupta placed his hand on Mandar's shoulder and said, "You are not your thoughts. You are the sky, vast and infinite. Thoughts are just passing clouds. Let them come and go, remain as the witness, untouched and silent." A deep stillness descended upon Mandar. He closed his eyes, and for the first time, instead of struggling against his mind, he simply watched in silence. he noticed the gap between thoughts. He saw the passing nature of emotions. He realized he was not the restless mind, but the ever-still awareness behind it. He opened his eyes, tears of joy streaming down his face. Guruji, I understand now. The mind is silent not by force, but by resting in the space beyond thoughts. Abhinavagupta smiled, yes, my child. Silence is not created, it is always there. You only need to stop clinging to the noise. From that day on, Mandar no longer battled his thoughts. Instead, he rested in the eternal silence of the self, beyond all movement of the mind. Moral of the story: stillness is the natural state of the mind, thoughts are only temporary ripples. Do not fight thoughts, observe them, and they will dissolve on their own. Between two thoughts, there is always a silent gap, rest in that space. The sky is never disturbed by passing clouds, be the sky, not the storm. Silence is not something to create, but something to recognize, it is already within you. Silence is not the absence of thoughts. It is the awareness that watches them without being disturbed. Om Namah Shivaya.